Hi guys, I just want to go over the replacement of a downstream oxygen sensor. I have a check engine light on my car. It's a 1999 Oldsmobile. And when I plugged in my OBD2 scanner, I got this error message, a P0137, which is an O2 circuit low voltage bank 1 sensor 2, meaning that's a downstream oxygen sensor. Now, I know it's a Downstream O2 sensor because when I replaced the catalytic converter about a year and a half ago, because it was completely rusted out, I put in the same O2 sensor and it did not look like it was in good shape. Now I can show you with this, which is made by get the lights on, which was made by Innova 3130B. It gives me live data, so I'm able to see the car. The car's data feed while it's on. So let me go ahead and get to the live data feed. Alright, so the ECT, the car was sitting in the garage all day, so 172, it's just warming up. IET temperature seems normal. Okay, so here we are at bank 1 sensor 1, and we got a good reading. That's a good reading for the first sensor, around 1. Now when I go to the downstream O2 sensor, I get no read at all. So instead of having to take out my multimeter and trying to test it and trying to ground it, I can just go ahead and go to the live data of my OBD2 scanner, and it'll tell me right there if it's getting any type of reading. And as you can see, it's getting no reading, which means the sensor is dead. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that sensor with an OE AC Delco sensor. Alright guys, so here I am underneath the car. This is the downstream O2 sensor. It goes right up there. That's a catalytic converter. Just a little ways up would be your tranny, your transmission pan, your oil pan, pretty much your drivetrain. So this is a downstream O2 sensor. Pretty easy to remove. So from here, there's this little tab that you want to pull back, and then you should be able to detach, and then you should be able to get the sensor out. So now it's unhooked. Try to pull back, move it off. Try that one last time. Both sides. There we go. Alright guys, so I managed to take off the downstream oxygen sensor. Here's the replacement. It's an AC Delco, part number 19178747. That's the GM part number. Seems to be a perfect fit. So this is just some copper anti-seize. It helps us the next time we have to replace it. It's not as hard to take off, and it also kind of helps out with to make sure that it's an airtight seal. There's no leaks should be coming out through there. In the process of taking off the downstream oxygen sensor, initially I thought I had enough room to be able to fit in the oxygen sensor socket. For this oxygen sensor, the socket's a 7/8 inch, but I didn't have any space to be able to fit the oxygen sensor socket. So what I had to do is I had to take off the rubber flanges off of the hooks that's supporting the exhaust. There were a total of 4, and as soon as I took those 4 off, I dropped the exhaust as low as it would let me. And then from there I had enough room to be able to fit the oxygen sensor socket on top of the oxygen sensor, and I was able to remove it. I tried using a wrench. It would not go in. There wasn't enough room because it was kind of like an incline, so it was an awkward position, and the wrench just wasn't able to grab because of the way that the oxygen sensor was sitting inside of the exhaust. So just keep that in mind. I did not know beforehand, and so just in order to be able to take off the downstream oxygen sensor on 99 Oldsmobile, this is a 3.5 liter, you would have to drop the exhaust. It's not hard. It probably took me 5 or 10 minutes. You just have to put some silicone spray on the rubber flanges, and then it just slides right off of the hooks. So it's like a 5 or 10 minute process. There's 4 in total, and then from there you can remove and reattach the oxygen sensor.